Hi, today I'm going to show you how to use the if-then-else function of doForms. I recently received a phone call by somebody asking me if it was possible in doForms to build a scorecard for 9-ball pool playing. And I said, absolutely. They said, can you show me how? And I said, yes, using the if-then-else function of doForms. So what you do is you basically use a table structure. I'll show you how to put 1 through 9 down the side. Use a choose 1 to put player 1 and player 2, and then you put 2 numeric fields, which I would normally hide, but I'm going to show you now for the purpose of the demo. And you basically use the if then else to say if the answer to player is player 1, then 1, else 0. And then this numeric says if the answer to player is player 2, then 1, else 0. So obviously if I click on there, you'll notice that it assigns the score to the person getting it, and then down at the bottom it's keeping the score. So as I go through and I mark which player got which ball, and 5 balls, you'll notice that it automatically pops up and says player 1 is the winner. So now I will show you how to build this very simply in doForms. I put a label in, just called it 9-ball scorecard, centered it, and then I brought in a table. In my table, I brought in a data lookup where I uploaded a small spreadsheet that literally had ball in cell A1 and 1 through 9 below it. I then went up to my lookup data and I added that as a lookup. And then I brought my data lookup into my table and I went to the data source and I selected my 9-ball data source that I had just created. And I told it to use ball as the lookup field. I then went back to my table and I clicked on the use checklist function. Now what that does is if you just put a data lookup into a table and you don't click on use checklist, it will give you a drop down and allow you to pick which ball you wanted. In this particular case, if you click on use checklist, what it does is it expands your data source and makes a row available for every row in your data source. That's why you saw 1 through 9 listed down the left-hand side. The other thing I like to do is to basically go into that and then make it read-only as well. So I would come down here and click read-only, and I would select everything, which is what I did in this case, so that they can't change that 1 through 9. That's just a static number now. Then I dragged in a choose 1, and I basically gave it the options of player 1 and player 2. And then I dragged into the table a numeric and basically used the logic of if then else. So if the answer to the question player is equal to player 1, then 1, else 0. And the same thing down here with player 2. And it says if the answer to player equals player 2, then 1, else 0. I then went and added a layout grid below it. And I actually formatted the layout grid as 50, 25, 25 so that it basically moved the answers below the numeric columns. And I put a label in for scores. And what I did there is I basically just said to use the sum of player 1 counter and the sum of player 2 counter. Then below that, I basically put a label in. I changed its color, shaded color, using the custom capability. And I basically gave it a caption, player 1 is the winner. And that only displays if the player 1 score is greater than or equal to 5. And then the below one will display if the player 2 score is greater than or equal to 5. So very quickly by doing that, you're able to get a 9-ball scorecard. And that's how easy it is to use the if-then-else statement to build something like a mobile application using doForms. Thank you.